In today's quick video, let's talk about valerian. Let's dive in. Valerian root has a long history of use, even dating back to the ancient Greeks and ancient Romans. Now, when using valerian, we're often using both the root and the rhizome, so make sure that your preparation is appropriate. Dosage for this one is going to vary based on what you're using it for and for how long you're using it. Generally, we see dosages around the 300 to 600 milligram range, and that's for using it daily, but dosages can be higher. And again, I'm going to say, you might not like it, but I'm going to say talk with your healthcare practitioner because valerian can have some interactions with other medications, especially things like hypertensive agents, because it can cause lower blood pressure. And the dosage that you're going to be on is going to be dependent on what you're using it for and what type, whether you have a capsule, whether you have a liquid form, whether it's extracting alcohol, or whether you have a glyceride. So again, talk with a practitioner who is knowledgeable in knowing how to dose this herb properly and knowing whether or not it is contraindicated for you. Otherwise, valerian is generally well tolerated. It can have some side effects of sometimes dizziness, sometimes it can cause weird dreams. It again can be hypotensive, so it can lower your blood pressure, and it can cause some GI upset in some people. So it's important to be aware of the potential side effects. As I mentioned, valerian is available in a number of different preparations, liquid, in a tincture, in a glyceride, available as a capsule, also available as a dry herb. Some people will make a tea out of it as well. So there are different forms. You just want to make sure that you're using the correct form to the problem that you are addressing. So valerian is commonly used for insomnia and issues with sleep. It does have mild sedative-like effects. There has been a lot of research and a lot of even conflicting studies on whether or not it's actually helpful for insomnia. Overall, it looks like newer research and newer meta-analysis is saying that it is, but especially when the preparation contains both the root and the rhizome. And again, for that, you're going to generally see dosages around 300 to 600 milligrams daily. Now, we think that the sedative properties of valerian is actually coming from its effect on GABA receptors, GABA being an inhibitory neurotransmitter in our brain. And in short, it often leads to sedative-like effects or feelings of being sleepy. As I mentioned before, valerian also has some hypotensive-like effects, so it's sometimes used as an antihypertensive, and often when used as a hypotensive, it's often sometimes mixed with other herbs as well. Also, due to its sedative-like effects, valerian's often or has historically been used as a nervine or something that kind of helps to relax you, often used for what we call like nervous tension or even kind of mild anxiety. There is some interesting research as well that valerian can be used for its GI protective properties. There's some research to indicate that it has protective qualities for the GI mucosa, so kind of helping that GI lining as well, and reducing gastric mucosal damage, which is really interesting. There is also some evidence to suggest that valerian can be helpful for pre- and postmenopausal women dealing with hot flashes. There were a few studies in which I believe the dosage was 675 milligrams was used daily for a period of 8 weeks, and a majority of women in that study did report a reduction in the symptoms of things like hot flashes and night sweats. So how do I actually use valerian in practice? I actually use this one quite often with insomnia. I tend to be mindful and not using this one long term for sleep. Usually we're using it kind of as an aid while we're working with sleep and trying to improve sleep quality. And when I'm using this one with clients, I will often taper off of it rather than just stopping. I even use this one personally to help with sleep, although I tend not to dose it too high because I notice that it can cause vivid dreams, but I also use it sometimes in my Sleepy Girl mocktail, and I'll leave a link to that recipe down in the description box. All right, I hope that this video was helpful and that you've learned something. If you have an experience with valerian root that you'd like to share, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye.